In order to keep your family tree healthy and strong, you need to prune it. And for virtual trees, that means you need to clean it up. So let's talk about how to do that on FamilySearch. One thing you can do to clean out your family tree is to standardize locations. The idea behind this is you're taking the note that you've written down of where the thing happened, where they lived in 1900, and turning that into a format that the algorithm of FamilySearch can use to find hints and records and other duplicates of your ancestor. And FamilySearch makes it really easy to see where these unstandardized date places are, and also dates, but that's less common. But they have this red exclamation mark next to the place name, and that lets you know that FamilySearch is having a problem reading it. So oftentimes, the problems that FamilySearch has with standardization, is you have additional information, like you know the specific church where it took place, or the cemetery is another place for burials. So in those cases, what you want to do is you want to leave it in the place of christening, and then have the standardized event place, this drop-down menu over here, just be the city and county or whatever it is, and then the country. So for this, it doesn't say itself as a church, so I'm just going to put that there. And let's also add spaces between the commas, because good English, FamilySearch reads that. So now it's more obvious this is a church, and so when people come in, they read it, they say, oh, it's a church. But for FamilySearch, they just need the city, township, whatever it is. And that's right here, this Bradford in Yorkshire. Now this Bradford existed as an entity, then it was restructured after 1974. But this date range, this 1831, where the christening took place, is within the time that this entity existed. So that's the standardized place. So now we have the church in the information for people to find it. We also have a place name that FamilySearch can find to help them find this guy. And of course, you have to just leave a little reason statement saying that's what you're doing. And then look at that, the exclamation mark went away. Another thing you can do to clean up the FamilySearch family tree is to edit vital information. This includes things like the names and the dates, try to standardize them, and also give the correct information. The first thing I'm going to edit up on this profile is the name. WM means William, so I'm just going to expand that to say William, and put a reason statement just saying it's on the death certificate, and then you're going to save it, and now it's fixed. Another thing we want to do is make the dates look consistent, even though we can see that this date has been standardized, so the algorithm knows what date this is. We want to make the date that people see look like the date that the algorithm sees. It just makes all the dates on the FamilySearch tree look the same and more consistent and organized. And usually all it takes is just changing one thing, taking off the 0, and look at that. We have a standardized date right here, and now there's only one date. The standardized date and the shown date are one and the same. Another thing we can do here is we can delete duplicate information. With alternate names, we only want to keep stuff that's dramatically different from the name that we have on their profile. If we had, for instance, a record that gave his name as William Bergenheimer or something, that's not Colgan. That's dramatically different from Colgan. So we're going to keep that as an alternate name. Another example is if they had a nickname, say if a record listed him as William Bucky Colgan. Then we'd keep that, denote that it is a nickname, but that's still a name that they went by. That's one of their alternate names. In this case, all of these names are variations of the same thing. So we just click Edit and then click Delete, and then put the reason as duplicate information. So now that we've cleaned out that area of the profile, let's go over and cover how you can fix duplicate dates. So in this case, we had a couple marriage dates for his parents. We have one just 1830. We have September 8th of 1830, and we have 17th of September 1830. These are the variations of the same date and place. So we're going to consolidate and delete the others to have one date which has all the information. So we're going to delete this 1830, and we mark that there's other information that's more complete. All right, here. So we have two options here of which date place combination we want to keep. Now we want to keep all the information in these two. One of them has a more specific date, and we want to keep that, and the other has a more specific place. We want to also keep that. It really doesn't matter which one you put the additional information on, and then the other one they delete. I'm just going to take this this one that has a more specific place and put the 17 on it, the 17th of September. So now we have this option that has all the more specific information. Then we can go ahead and delete this one. Now you can see we have one marriage plate and dates that has all the information that we know about that marriage, instead of having multiple ones with different pieces of information. So another thing you can do to clean up the FamilySearch family tree is to tag sources. What this does is this links the specific source to the information that the source has about a particular event. Going back to William, it looks like the birth here has no sources supporting the evidence, but they're just not tagged. So over in the sources page, let's just do a quick search, because this one is a birth and a christening. So clearly it should be tagged for the birth and the christening, right? Because that's what it gives us information about. Once we've tagged it, we go back here and look at that. The birth now has one source supporting it, which is the source that was supporting it. It just wasn't tagged as being supporting of it. A new thing you can do is add dates to the source's timeline. This is a new feature that FamilySearch has rolled out along with their timeline feature, which you can watch videos about there. But what this does is it allows you to sort sources based on the time, the year in which they took place, which is really helpful for seeing what happened in their life. Now, FamilySearch does this for some of the records, particularly the more indexed ones. But for sources from other websites, such as this city directory from Don's list, you're going to need to add the date manually, in which case it's fairly simple. It's just from 1842. We're going to put this right in the date, and then save it. And now it's in chronological order with the other things. There are also some records on the FamilySearch website that don't have the date added to them. This is because they're part of the browse-only collections, which aren't indexed, which is how they get the date. So you're going to have it added yourself. I'm just going to do this one. It was a deed purchased in 1847. And I'll always make sure you're clicking this thing to standardize it. That helps FamilySearch track the data more easily. And click save. So now the date is added to that source, and if you refresh your page, the FamilySearch will sort the sources based on the dates that you've provided. Another thing you can do to clean up the FamilySearch is just remove unhelpful notes. There are a lot of useful things you can do with notes. It's a way to put new discoveries or questions or just things that really doesn't fit into sources. But there are just some notes that are not useful in any way, and those are the ones you want to delete. One good rule of thumb is anything that says things about GEDCON files, like migrated from GEDCON file or person created from a GEDCON file, those are notes from back when FamilySearch was created back in 2012, and they don't have any information other than the fact that it was created, which you can see. So there are also a lot of random notes that just don't make any sense. Like this one, let's take a look. It doesn't have any information, just has a title. That might be a form, but we don't know what kind of a form it is. Is it a record? Maybe it was just a glitch or something. I don't know what's going through the mind of this Devin Lee person. This note is not very helpful, so we're going to just delete it. We don't even need to bother with the reason statement. Nobody's going to get mad at us. The last thing you can do to clean up the tree that I'm going to tell you that you can do to clean up the tree is to detach obviously incorrect sources. All genealogists make mistakes, including this Devin Noel Lee person. If you're new to the channel, that Devin Noel Lee person is my mom, and she did it on purpose. Now, the reason that this was wrong is because I know William stayed in England. He was born and died in England, and this is a U.S. Civil War record. He didn't go over to the U.S., so this is wrong. So I want to detach this record. I click View Source, and then I click Detach, and it'll ask me a reason why. And then I'll put the reason. This is not a time to say that you're that this person who put it on is a bad genealogist. It's just a time to say why I know that this is wrong. So that's some of the things you can do to prune your family tree. If you have any ideas about more things you can do to prune your tree, let me know in the comments. And if you want to learn a little bit more about FamilySearch, check out this playlist over here.